read 8 disturbing books in a weekend. I devoured all of them and I had so much fun doing it. So let's do a little recap. Before we get into that, hi, I'm Eve. I like to talk about disturbing books and recommend them to you. So if you like this content, if you want to see more disturbing books, like, comment, subscribe, all that shit, you know the drill. Also, before we get into this, of course, I'm talking about disturbing books, so please continue watching this at your own discretion. If you need to look up trigger warnings, do so. All of these books are going to be extremely fucked up, gruesome, graphic, so if you're eating or if you have any triggers, you should probably skip. So yeah, I had a weekend off, which was so nice, and it started Friday evening into Saturday and Sunday. And the whole intention of having this weekend off is to see how many books I can read because during my work week, I get off work and I'm so tired that I do not even feel like opening my eyes or holding my head up. So I usually just pass out as soon as I get home from work. And it was really nice to have a weekend off because usually I just have one day off a week. And so that one day off is usually spent running errands, cleaning up my house, catching up on any housework. But having a weekend off, I was able to sit down and dedicate myself to some amazing books. And oh my gosh, best weekend ever. And guess what? I have this weekend off too. So I'm going to do another readathon. So without further ado, let's get into the books that I read. I finished Family Man by Mr. Splatter. This was a crazy, gruesome book, and it was also thicker, which is so nice to see in the splatterpunk extreme horror genre because I feel like not a lot of authors really do thick books. It's all novellas. Hey, don't get me wrong. I love a novella. I love a short story, but it was so nice actually sinking my teeth into something and having it occupy my mind for hours because I usually read on average 100 pages an hour. So if the average story for extreme horror and splatterpunk is 142 pages, it takes me probably a half an hour and a half actually, to finish the story. So this was so nice to have something occupy my time for hours. But this story follows a man. He suspects his wife of cheating, and that really like triggers him, and he snaps. Also, if you don't want any spoilers, skip this. But he snaps and he tortures the man that he thinks she's cheating on him with, kills their dog, roasts their baby, kills the son. Like it was just balls to the wall gruesome. Next story I finished was The Home by Judah Sonnet. This book creeped me the fuck out. It's not necessarily extreme horror or splatterpunk. It is very gruesome, but this is fucking creepy. I was reading it late at night and I went to go lock my door and I heard this crashing noise on my porch. I locked the door and I was like, fuck no. That's literally what I said because I thought it was Mr. Friendly Man from this fucking book. I was like, I can't do this. I'm not built for this. I run into my room and I stay there and I lock my room door. And then I go back out. The wind just blew over my Halloween decorations. Yes, it's January. Halloween decorations stay up all year long. But this story follows three people who meet Mr. Friendly while they are younger, and decades later, they have to kind of act in a ritual to get Mr. Friendly to go away. This was such a fascinating book. This encapsulates everything that we know and love about horror. This is a classic in my mind. I love this. Then I read Erotic Gore by Chuck Nasty. This was an amazing um, read. I found this on Godless and I saw Erotic Gore. I was like, hell yeah, brother, sign me up. But it has two stories in it, sadomasochistic romance and Midnight at the Dead Dick Fuckhole Emporium. Both of these stories were absolutely crazy. One of them, the first one, follows a man who becomes entangled with this couple and eventually he starts like kind of having sex with them, but they're into some really extreme things. And the reason why they're into these really extreme things is because they have a special ability. I don't want to spoil it too much, but there is a quote that I just thought was so funny, and it says Dawn wedged both of his hands inside her anus and started clapping. What? What do you mean? Next story follows a killer as he takes refuge in this adult store called Dead Dicks, I think. And he signs up for the What the Hell package as a way to get off at this adult store. And it's basically you go into this room and you are able to go into the next room when you're finished with that certain fetish in that room. We have killer furries, we have snuff films. Like, this was crazy. Then I read Tribesmen, which is a book that has been sitting on my shelf for a hot minute. And this was such a fun read. It was if you love Cannibal Holocaust and what was it? It was the 80s Italian cannibal craze. You will eat this book up. No pun intended. This was absolutely amazing. We're following a crew as they go to a island to record a movie, and shit just gets out of hand real fast. And then we have Splatter Park, which I read when it came out originally, but I never did a proper review on it. So I bought a physical copy because I do love this cover. I do love the colors, and I love the authors as well. So I might as well support them. So I bought a physical copy and I reread it. And this has some of the most fuck wild stories I've read in a minute. But each chapter alternates authors, but each story takes place in the same trailer park. And so we have some titles such as Uncle Fuckers, 50 Shades of Garlic, Mud Tires, and Meat Curtains. Like, there's a little something for everybody in this book. We have two girls who are fighting each other over a man, and that man is their uncle. We have a girl who gets told that if she self induces vomit and eats it every day for a week, she could win some money. We have some vampire shit. Like, this has everything for everyone. Then I read His Name is Vicious by Stuart Bray. This was wild. We are following a dog named Vicious, and he is basically Cujo, but way worse. Vicious lost his mom when he was first born, and so growing up, he was extremely violent. And Vicious was actually supposed to be put down, but instead attacked the vets and ran off. And he found a new family to fuck up. Like, this shit was crazy. And then I read the Amityville Bukkake. This was ridiculous. Like, this was absolutely ridiculous. We're following this guy, and he likes to masturbate to very certain things. So he hires a crew to make a special porn for him, and they get hired to go to famous murder places and record the porn there. And so they record a little porno flick in Amityville, but it gets rough. It gets crazy. Oh my gosh, I was cringing while reading this book because of how disgusting it was. And then I read Eden, which is an installment of Gomorrah and Sodom and God, but I'm not going to talk about that book just yet. Just yet. Not yet. Yeah, I had a very successful reading weekend. All the books that I read, I loved. I didn't have to DNF any of them, or none of them put me in a reading slump, which was so refreshing and so nice. So if any of these books sound interesting, please check them out. Like, comment, subscribe, and that's it. Have a good one.